बालवीर सीज़न 3 के एपिसोड 105 में हम देखेंगे कि किस तरह बालवीर कहता है अपने बाप को आज़ाद करवाने के बाद कि वो नई ताकतें और नई शक्तियाँ लेकर आएगा और सामना करेगा अपने बाप भस्म का। और हम देखते हैं कि एपिसोड 105 में भस्म ने सारे शाश्वान लोक और उदाका लोक को आग लगा दी है, और क्योंकि उसका नाम भस्म है तो इसलिए वो सारे लोगों को भस्म कर देना चाहता है। और उत्तान और शशमाग और सारे लोग शाश्वान लोक के बेनाम के साथ शाश्वान लोक में हैं और उनके इर्द गिर्द आग ही आग लगी हुई है। और आगील कहती है कि वो अपने इस जाल में कामयाब हो चुकी है और उसका जो इरादा था बालवीर को ख़त्म करने का वो भी कामयाब हो गया है, क्योंकि भस्म ने अपने नाम की तरह ही सब कुछ भस्म करना शुरू कर दिया है। और यही बालवीर की सबसे बड़ी गलती है, क्योंकि उसने अपने बाप भस्म को आज़ाद करवा लिया है, जिसमें तान बोलता है कि उसने अपनी जान को दांव पर लगाकर भस्म को कैद किया था और बालवीर ने ही भस्म को आज़ाद करवा लिया, जो कि शशमाक कहता है तान को। और हम देखते हैं कि ये एपिसोड 105 में जो भी दिखाया जाएगा वो आने वाले एपिसोड्स में से होगा और ना ही एक ही एपिसोड में होगा, क्योंकि ये सारे सीन्स अगले एपिसोड्स में भी होंगे। तो भस्म एक बहुत ही ताकतवर आदमी है और एक बहुत बुरी शक्ति है जिसका सामना बालवीर से होगा, और सिर्फ बालवीर ही अपने बाप भस्म को मार सकता है। और सिर्फ मार ही नहीं बल्कि हमेशा के लिए उसी के भस्म त्रिशूल से उसको एक ऐसी कैद में डालेगा जिसमें से कोई भी चाह कर भी उसे नहीं निकाल सकता। अगर आप सबसे पहले सीज़न 3 के एपिसोड्स देखना चाहते हैं तो मैजिक वर्ल्ड को सब्सक्राइब करते हैं और इस वीडियो को लाइक करते हैं ताकि अगले सीज़न 3 के फुल एपिसोड्स आपके पास सबसे जल्दी आएँ। तो इस एपिसोड को शुरू करते हैं। Today's episode is going to be the 105th episode of Veer Season 3, and of course this episode is going to start off in a very shocking way, just as how episode 104 was ended in the most shocking way imaginable. And we did not think that they would end it in the way we were shown that it would be ended, and we did not even get coming up next promo of episode 105. We just got a future glimpse of the future episodes and those clips from all those episodes. Now, of course, at first stance, we thought that the show is going to end, and this is seemingly going to be the last episode of Balveer season 3, and how Balveer said that he will be back with more powers and everything was just you can say in a way it was confirming the fact that this is indeed the last episode of Balveer season 3. So we ought to talk about that whole, you can say, scene, and it just needs a lot of interpretation and a lot of explanation. So the scene started off, which is very, you can say, an upgraded version of a coming up next promo. It says that this is the future that is being shown, and those, you can say, the titles were there. So we see that Bhasm, it started off with Bhasm pushing a rickshaw in modern colony for some reason, and just, you can say, spreading terror. And then we see Tan's fist and a burning Shashwan Lok in the background. And of course, all of our characters are there. Dilak, Vahmir, Benam, Shashmag and Uttan are on this platform of Shashwan Lok, where Shashwan Lok is just burning. And we see the burning statue of Balveer, and Shashmag as Nehmag reveals that it was Balveer who freed Bhasm, and we see Uttan screaming really loudly for some reason. And then we are introduced to Agil in her true form, and she is now laughing and says that her long due and, you can say, long awaited plan came to a success and it was fruitful, and that she is very excited to see how Balveer's end meets him. And then Utan says that he, you can say, risked his own life to trap Bhasm, and now Balveer revealed, or you can say released him from his imprisonment. And then we see them doing a back-to-back, you can say, intercut scenes that they love doing, and it just gives off the feel, the vibe of the last episode of a show. But it isn't, it's just an episode that is going, they didn't show a coming up next promo, because this is going to be a holiday, or you can say an off for the episode airing, and due to it being only aired on Monday and not Sunday, so there is a gap of a day, and that gap is where we will show the episode 105. So this is the reason why episode 105 is just in front of you guys and you are watching it right now. So Balveer is now standing on this rock, and it is also surrounded by lava and destruction and misery and just flame and fire. So Balveer is shocked by all his wrongdoings, and Balveer just now for some reason realizes that he has done something really very terrible, and of course everyone is really shocked. And Benam says to Tan that there is nothing that they can do to stop Bhasm, and Agil says now this is the time where Balveer will die, which is not true. It never is true, and for some reason these people are very much okay, surrounded by fire, and of course there will be lack of oxygen, so how are they even breathing is beyond the understanding. So Bhasm is very, you can say, kind to Agil for not destroying her realm, or maybe it is very hard to destroy because it is just an Antarctic region, and that is the reason why it can't be destroyed. So Bhasm is now being the center of attention of everyone, and of course it would have been great, but now he is just being overhyped, and when he just spends 2 to 3 episodes, or maybe 4 to 5 episodes, he will be nerfed again, just like how every single villain is nerfed here in the Balveer franchise. And instead of encouraging his people, Utan says that there will be death everywhere because Bhasm is here to spread death. And Balveer says that this won't be the time where death will rule, and Balveer will reverse everything, and he takes an oath, or he swears fealty to the lives of Shashwan Lok and Udaka Lok, that they will be saved. And then Balveer lifts up his sword for some reason. We have no idea why this sword is here, and this sword is it going to be used to kill his father? We have no idea. So Balveer's sword, which we have no idea what it is representing, only if there was a sigil or a symbol of JJ on that sword, it would have been believable, it would have been important, it would have had some significance, but it doesn't, because we have no idea. They are just printing some very random symbols on it, so it's just, you can say, it is free of any significance. And Balveer says something that would only be said in an episode that is considered the last episode, because Balveer says that he will be back with new powers and with a new way, with a new technique. And this is just very, you can say, alarming, because Balveer shouldn't say this, and this isn't something that is considered to be the last episode, so we have no idea what that creative decision was. And then they still are going with Agil, saying that Balveer will die. And finally we see the trio of Balveer, Agil and Bhasm, and we have no idea what is going on and about. And this is where the episode ended, without a coming up next promo. Now, of course, we have to talk about the rest of the episode, and it starts off with Balveer dragging these ropes around the tower, or this land, this floating thing where Pasm's statue is, and he is now tying these, you can say, knots around the trident that is of Pasm, and it is a very flexible trident for some reason, and it is also not protected at all, so maybe they didn't think that anyone would be willing to do that. And then Shishmat says to Agil that, well, after Balveer resurrects his father, Balveer will have an ultimate battle, or a major battle, with his own father, which is not believable at all. So we just have to pretend that it is making sense of some sort when it doesn't. So, Agil is now saying the same thing that she has been saying since she has arrived in Benam's body, and we are just going away with it and just pretending that it is making sense when it doesn't. So Agil is very much, you can say, convinced that Balveer is actually heading towards his own death by resurrecting his father. And for some reason, Balveer has tied a knot to the trident, and while Balveer is dragging away from it, we switch back to the Bhardwaj family as they try to figure out how Toba Toba will be able to or indirectly help Benam and Kashvi back in their bodies. And then we see that Kashvi is heading towards the fire, which undead Tuer is telling her to, and we really can't believe that Kashi would do that. And one more thing that we figured, that how did Kashvi lose her mother's powers as well? We know that when Kashvi was being rescued by his mother, actually her mother and father, we saw a very touching moment where Tuer gave up all her powers for Kashvi and put those powers inside Kashvi. So, and of course, the time where Mahajadu was sucked from Kashvi and into that cube was only Mahajadu. It was red in color. So there is no explanation for that, and they didn't, you can say, deemed it necessary for it to be, you can say, named. They could have said that the power of Mahajadu actually ate away the Tuer's Jadu, or whatever magic she had laying around, because we can clearly see that Tuer's magic was yellow and it was given to Kashvi. So Kashvi should possess some sort of magic, and of course Kashvi is a demi-himbashi, and she should be getting, you can say, in some way or the other, up the powers of everyone from Himbashlok, and she doesn't, so it doesn't make any sense. And we see that Benam is running to save Kashvi because she saw Tawa Tawa being very, you can say, open about him being very much alive in the haunted dreamland. And then back at the Bhardwaj family, everyone thinks that they can do anything they want, and they for some reason figure out that if they move their bodies in the real world, then their bodies will also move in the haunted dreamland. And we have no idea how they figured that out, because it isn't just true at all. And then they say that they are trying to do what is going to be the greatest outcome from this try. And now Veer's grandfather is making up this insane plan that he will be able to help Kashi by giving this pearl to Kashi. So of course it doesn't make any sense at all. We will get to that as well. Now Benam is searching for Toba Toba because she saw Toba Toba wandering in the haunted dreamland modern colony area, and of course Toba Toba is being very sneaky about it. And we are back at Balveer's location in the Gringar look, and they also put some CGI rope in there for some reason. So Balveer is now tying this one end of the rope to the trident, to the Bhasm trident, and the other to this fallen pillar. And simultaneously we see Benam searching for Toba Toba, and Toba Toba being very sneaky about it. And we also see Kashi running towards the fire. We have no idea why she is you can say manipulated or possessed, or she like we have no idea. Is she bamboozled, or is she like stigmatized, or whatever this is not making any sense, just like the whole of this show. And now for some reason Benam is seeing everywhere but the obvious you can say thing, and then Toba Toba just falls in that drum and he tries to escape, but Benam has already caught him. And now very luckily and conveniently the Bhardwaj family is now moving Toba Toba's body so that he will not be able to move. And then he uses his hand, and that also is like forcing Toba Toba to his pocket, and then that will expose the pearl, and it just gives the pearl right in front of Benam. So this was their master plan to make it so obvious. So all of the effort that went into making this whole set was just wasted, so that Benam could just be handled, or we can say just be given this very important pearl right in her hands where she can use it. And it doesn't make any sense, and it isn't really rewarding because it just happened to be there. And it was, you can say, built up when they were making or they were moving bodies, but it also isn't that highly earned. And Kashi is just brainwashed into thinking that that is her mother, even though there was no element of motherhood or any theme. So Toba Toba is now very, you can say, unable to move, and Benam takes that pearl. And the way how it works is you just have to point that pearl in between the eyes, and everyone in the haunted dreamland will be teleported into the real world. So this is just unbelievable. We thought that it would be highly earned, and we thought that maybe if they held their hands together, both Kashi, Toba Toba and Benam, only then they will be able to return back to the real world. But they just teleported, so maybe it is a thing that Benam has to think in order to take all her desired friends to the real world. So maybe she did not want to take Toba Toba with her, so it doesn't make any sense. So they're back in the real world finally, after the insufferable plot of the haunted dreamland, and Kashi is very much alive. And then we see the you can say obvious reaction for Veer's mother to tell Eva to capture and take and hold Benam in her place. But then Kashi explains that she is innocent and they should just, you can say, take a hold on Dawa and trap him in a very, you can say, secure room. So back in Shashwan Lok, we see Shashmag and Agil still spectating Balveer rescuing his father, and we have no idea why this scene is even there. They should just be there when Balveer finally, you can say, just frees his father. But then there is something that really is just unbelievable that happens, and that is that we can clearly see that it was, at first it was Agil herself, or well, Ada Khan, who was there, and it was Binam actually, but they just made it a hologram. So they changed that in right after submitting the coming up next promo, and that did not make any sense. So the coming up next promo showed that Agil is not there. So that is why Balveer said that they will come to Agil, because Agil is not already in Grinkarlok. So it makes sense, yes, but it did not make any sense in the coming up next promo, and we talked about it. So this is what episode 105 is all about. Subscribe our channel and watch these Balveer episodes only on Magic World, where new Balveer episodes are daily uploaded with new ideas. Only for the true Balveer fans who want to experience the wonders of Balveer that are brought to you by Magic World. Take care of yourself and be happy.